Hi, I'm Luke,
I'm Jimmy,
and this is what's on the table.
and with a little buddy Nikki.
Speaking of, I just got done watching Little Nicky.
Oh, the movie.
Yes.
Another topic for another day, but in my personal opinion, Adam Sandler's best underrated movie. It's his best underrated movie. Not his best movie, but his best underrated movie.
Mm-hmm.
But so, if you saw the last video, I'm sorry, but also
I feel sorry for anybody who watched
all
the way through.
it also explains what's been going on with their schedule lately. So watch that if you want to know what's been going on lately. But more importantly,
Immediately skip over it.
we are here to talk about Kaldheim.
I am so excited for this.
We've been excited. We've both been excited about this set for a while. Both of us are huge lovers of Norse mythology.
Oh, yes. Very much so.
And I'm a Lord of the Rings fanatic. So, in which much of Lord of the Rings of Tolkien's work was based off Norse mythology. Not all of it, but a lot of it was.
It had a strong presence.
Gandalf actually was based off of Odin.
Really?
Yeah, because when Odin would come down to Earth, he would always dress up as an older, wise man with a gray beard.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying.
And incredible. And he would guide people. He would never directly intervene. He'd always be the guide. So that's one of the inspirations that Tolkien had for him.
Fair enough.
But there are many other things. But I'm really excited about the set. Don't bump the table.
Sorry. I'm so excited. I just can't keep my legs.
This time it wasn't the dogs.
They're actually behaving, which is weird.
Great. So we're going to talk about Kaldheim and some of our favorite things about this set. So the first thing I want to talk about this set is I was hyped for this set before like almost any card was revealed, and then the cards started getting revealed. And it just kept up my hype going. There are certain cards and certain aspects of the last sets over the last year and a half that I have been excited for, but I have not been so hyped for a set until really this one. Like this is
when you told me the next set was coming out, I wasn't too impressed or not impressed. I wasn't really excited for it because
and then I told you like this is all based off Norse mythology. So Luke here, as you we mentioned it before, but we haven't actually done a video on it. But Luke has a Gods deck that he dismantled.
That thing needed to die. That poor deck.
So the problem with doing a Gods tribal in Commander is
doesn't work.
With doing a Thorosian God deck, it's very difficult to work. It's very hard to make it work because you have to, unless you're doing like one or two colors or maybe three colors at most.
No,
if you're doing all five colors,
I went all in.
Well, that's what you want to do for like a Gods deck.
Yeah.
But the problem is Thorosian Gods
don't coincide very well.
They don't really work together well too much of each other. The fact you need so much of them on board to even make them active as creatures is kind of counterintuitive.
Well, the thing is, I've actually won full games with that.
But it's not a fun win.
It kind of was. Because people was like, man, that deck's not going to do anything.
No. It's fun that you won. It's like, it did something. But you're like, this was agonizing to get here. So it's a win, but at what cost? But no. So when I knew the set based off Norse mythology was coming up, I was excited for this for him because I knew the gods would be different. But first thing,
they look so much easier to work with.
Well, they are. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that all the gods are modal. Which, if you don't know what that means, the modal cards are things that are. They originally, and they have one side and they have a flip side, and you can play either or. They have the front side is what their main side is, and then they can flip over to a back side. It started off in the last set, the Zendikar Rising, and in Zendikar Rising, you had cards that were like some were like lands, or they were spells or creatures that would flip into lands. While here it's kind of it's everything but land. So it's creatures or spells that will flip into art. Actually, it's mostly creatures. It's creatures that flip into other spells or flip into artifacts or enchantments and so on and so forth.
With the exception, very nice.
With the exception of the whole the pathways. They finished off the pathways, which they needed to. Yeah, the last four. They just came out.
I don't care. It should have been done that time.
I do agree that, but it is nice though that the rest of the pathways are finished.
Yes.
But let's talk about the important thing, gods, which we were talking about him. So the thing I'm really excited about that they did is they made all the gods here not indestructible, which for many other the gods they were always indestructible. Well, why
Which
not?
makes sense for them because of Ragnarok and all that.
Well, not just Ragnarok, but so why are the Norse gods mortal? Well, because in Norse mythology, there are many cases of gods dying. Not even just Ragnarok. There are plenty instances of just gods dying because of fighting beings, other mighty godlike beings. Mm-hmm. And so the whole point was the Norse gods, while powerful and world changing, are still mortal beings who can be overwhelmed and die.
Which that's the thing that's always kind of drugged me towards Nordic. It's because they can die and will die, and it's not glossed over like Zeus and all them, the Greek pantheon and stuff.
Well, they're specifically called to be immortal, even because even the Titans and stuff weren't they couldn't truly kill them. They could only bind imprison them in Tartarus, or cut them into 1,000 pieces and spread you out across the cosmos. But very few entities truly died in Greek mythology.
Oh yeah,
but which they show off in Theros quite often. In the Theros sets that happened, God, it was very difficult to kill a god.
Oh, very much so.
And so, with that being said, this is one of the things I'm really excited about for Kaldheim is all the immortal gods. Let's just talk about the big five, the mythic gods. So we're going to talk about them right now. We will briefly go over the rares, and I think all the other gods are rares. I don't think there's an uncommon god.
I think you're right. They're all mythic or rare.
Yeah, but it's still great. A bunch of rares are phenomenal. So let's go back up. Let's talk about the first gods. So the first gods that were introduced. Well, the first one was Halvar, god of battle. He's a 4/4 for 4, 2 white mana and 2 colorless, and creatures that you control that are enchanted or equipped get double strike. At the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura or equipment to a creature you control to another target creature you control. So you get to move around equipment and enchantment for free. I feel like
that'd be really good in your night deck.
It would be really good. It'd definitely be insane in that deck because it's also an equipment-based deck. But he also flips over into another form.
Does it show?
Yeah.
Come on, slow computer.
Slow computer work.
Slow computer work.
And so his other form is a Sword of the Realms. A Tyrite sword. And the equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has vigilance. So and it looks like it's the sword that allows you to kind of like transfer through the cosmos, similar to what Heimdall does in Norse mythology. And whenever a creature, whenever the equipped creature dies, it will return it to the donor hand. Mm-hmm. So one of the cool things about Norse mythology is that the gods were powerful in their own right, but they had equipment and magics to further increase their power,
which has made them
much better. It made them stronger. It made them more godlike.
Yeah,
like they were already powerful to begin with, but this further increased their abilities. Next one is Olrund. So Halvar, god of battle, is similar to Baldir. He's akin to that god.
I would almost said Heimdall.
He's god of battle. He's like a mix between Baldir and Heimdall because transferring to the realms, because the sword can cut through the cosmos itself.
Yeah. And
the fact that he's the god of battle, which would put him more towards Baldir.
Yeah.
But now we have Olrund, god of the cosmos.
This one's obvious.
It's very Odin inspired. Yeah. He gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand, and each foretold card that's an exiled. So before we go further into him, I gotta go over foretell. Foretelling is a mechanic that where you pay 2 mana to foretell a card, aka you exile it face down. And then later you can cast that card for its foretell cost, which will be stated on the card. So foretell is a strong mechanic because, in my personal opinion, because first off, it's like you're setting stuff up for later. You pay 2 mana to set stuff up for later to have it hidden, where your opponent doesn't know. It's also a great way to avoid hand destruction. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, it also sets up the fact your opponent's like, you're building up these resources. And your opponent's like, shit, what's about to happen? And it also can make your opponents can sometimes forget that you have these things foretold. There's also cards that have synergy with the foretell mechanic in the set, but more importantly, the foretell mechanic generally it shows out to be a lot of power within it.
Now, can foretold cards be destroyed or anything like that? Or
while they're in exile, unless a card says return all cards from exile back, no, they cannot be messed with.
Okay.
When the card's foretold, it cannot be messed with unless there's a card that specifically deals with any exile card. Because there are cards that only deal with face-up exile cards, but there are very, 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 very few cards that even deal with cards that are already exiled.
I feel like that would be something.
So it's a great way to protect your stuff.
Yeah.
But more importantly, you can also you can cast a card for its foretell cost at any time that you can normally cast a card normally. So if the card is a creature, you can only cast it like during your main phases. If it's an instant spell, you can cast it at instant speed. There's a card later that allows you to cast things as at any time you could cast an instant. It's not real flash because it's not it's because it only works for foretell, but it's similar to flash for foretell.
It makes foretell even better.
That makes it incredibly strong.
Yeah.
But back to our boy Ulrund. So Ulrund, at the beginning of beginning your instep, you choose one card type, then reveal the top 2 cards of your library, put all the cards of the chosen type in your hand, and the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. Ooh. So this pretty much allows you to kind of just filter through your deck for what you need. Now, doesn't seem off the bat like an insanely strong card, but at first, when he was first revealed, but with the foretell mechanic, I think he's going to be incredibly strong, especially in blue, because he's mono blue, because he's 2 blue and 3. The downside to him is he is a 1/1, but the buff he gets is not like a plus. He gets counters. No, it's just a static buff.
Yeah.
Unless you prevent his abilities from being used, unless you turn off all of his abilities. He's still going to be. He can be pretty big, especially if you're foretelling up to the point where you play him. So you have like 4 cards foretold and like 1 card in hand, and then you cast him. In addition to casting him, then he's going to be like, all right, that's 5 cards. It means he's going to be a 6/6,
and that's
solid for a 6/6. A 6/6 with upside's good.
Oh, very good.
So unlike Havar, Ulrund actually his modal side is another creature. So his modal side is Haka, Whispering Raven. So similar to how Odin had his ravens.
That were his eyes.
Mugen and Ujin? Or Mugen is something else. I can't remember what the other one's name was. The 2 ravens for Odin. I can't remember off the top of my head. But point is,
I keep wanting to say Ugin too.
Yeah, so it's Haka, Whispering Raven. It's a 2/3 for 2 mana, with flying, which is already pretty good stats.
That's very good.
It's already pretty good stats. Like it's
turn 2 smacking for people.
Well, a turn 2 being a turn 2/3 with flying is already would be a solid rare slot.
Yeah,
wouldn't be great, but it'd be solid. But it'd be great on common. It'd be a phenomenal common.
Very much so.
But point is, he's a mythic, so he has to do more, right? He does. Whenever he deals common damage to a player, you return him to your hand and you scry 2.
Which is...
It's really good because it synergizes so well with Ulrund. Because with him scrying 2, you get to kind of manipulate the top cards of your deck and you know what's coming up. So when you cast Ulrund, use his ability, then you know like what's kind of... You can kind of prepare yourself and know you can call the cards you need.
No, what I kind of wish would come back would be the Miracle, because I feel like Miracle cost with him would be really good.
Miracle is something that is really super tied to the thematic scenery of Innistrad. It really is. I mean, it could work here, but I think there's less prayers to beings and the miracles happening here. I mean, it happens with certain gods, but this is more... The Norse mythology is more like just do it yourself and and you do something enough, you become good enough at something, and you will be noticed enough. The gods or a god or powerful beings will notice you enough where you will eventually become more powerful yourself and possibly even a god yourself. Yeah. So it's more about merit, power through merit,
which is a very good thing to have.
So next is the card. I'm probably most excited about this card. I love this card. So I've been a big Tibble fan for a while. I've been a fan of like just in general like how like I like his story, his lore, how he came to be, and then how Wizards just pretty much had him get curb stomped by freaking Sorin, which was like so underwhelming. His first Planeswalker was garbage. His second Planeswalker was actually really solid. It saw a lot of sideboard play in red decks during the War of the Spark era. But now, Tibble's back.
He's good.
But as a god. Valky, God of Lies. So he's a 2-mana, 1 black, 1 colorless, 2/1 legendary creature god. When Valky enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. And for each opponent, exile a creature revealed this way until he leaves the battlefield. You can pay X and then choose a creature card exiled with him with converted mana cost of X, and he becomes a copy of it. So he can hit some of your opponent's best cards out of their hands, and and then later allow you to make him become that.
Yep.
At least their best creatures, which is strong for a 2/1, but it's not like overly powerful. But flexibility is what's important.
Flexibility is amazing, especially with this card. It is so good.
Well, the next side makes him hyper flexible. So the next side is a 7-drop. That's a lot of mana. But for 5 mana, a black and a red, you get Tibble, Cosmic Imposter. Tibble looking pretty sus.
He is red.
I know, man. Can't. Right, we gotta vote red. You gotta vote red and have him ejected out of the ship.
He definitely ejected himself into godhood.
All right, so Tibble, Cosmic Imposter, starts off with 5 loyalty, and as he enters the battlefield, you get an emblem that's with. You may play cards exiled with him, and you may spend mana of any color to cast them. First off, we'll get to his abilities in a minute, but that first emblem makes all of his abilities, his abilities are okay.
If they didn't
have
that
emblem you get immediately when he hits board.
If they didn't have that emblem, this Tibble would be
also garbage. I'd say it'd be worse than the 2-drop. But that emblem alone makes it so insane. Because that never goes. There's 2 cards in the game that get rid of emblems, and both involves restarting the game. Like hard resetting the game. Not like, not pseudo resetting, no, actually resetting the game. There's 2 cards that are.
What was it? Karn and.
There's Karn and there's one other card out the top of my head.
Karn's the more common one.
Yeah. Point is, if Tibble hits board, that emblem's staying.
Done and dusted.
So, it's not
done and dusted. But
the emblem's staying. Yeah. Point is, so his +2, it's +2, is exile a top card of each player's library. So that's draw 4.
Which is.
That's +2. Good. You draw a card, and you take the top cards of your opponent's decks. You get to play them. It's just play, right? Yeah, you may play. Yeah, you may play. You may play cards exiled. So you get to play their lands. You can play their creatures and everything. Play all their cards. You just play them. Good. This card, like the ceiling of this card's high. No, he's a lot to cost. So he's not going to be broken by any means.
No,
but the ceiling is there, and I love it.
That ceiling
his
is
-3
up there.
His -3 is exile target creature or artifact, which is pretty much its removal. Plus, I get to cast that later, which is dumb. It's so good. And then his negate is without that emblem is bad.
It's very bad.
His negate is exile all cards from graveyards and they get 3 red mana. So it's like a upsided pyretic ritual.
If that.
And no, it is. It's upsided pyretic ritual plus Bajuka Bog. That's it. But you when you factor in his emblem, that's here.
Good.
Let me exile everyone's grave. Give me your graves, and then I get all these new toys to play with. It can be very powerful, especially if you already have a pseudo mill strategy going on.
If played at the right time, that could honestly end the game.
That can end the game, especially if you've already, especially if you right before you did that, you had a way to make infinite mana.
Oh yeah,
and specifically Commander speaking, or any format that can make infinite mana. Mm-hmm. If you make infinite mana right before that, even something simple like infinite colorless, because you can use mana of any color to cast them. If you make infinite colorless, I'm gonna cast your graves.
It goes that's exile field.
It's insane. So high ceiling, but his floor is not is decently low.
His floor
is decently low, but the ceiling is what's really impressive.
What I like is how quickly you can get his alt up.
2 turns.
That's
it's even better if you're playing if you're not making him commander, you have him in a deck that's multicolored, because you can have stuff like the doubles counters. So you have him come in as a 10 and ready to ult immediately.
Just hit forward, alt, out.
No, he'll live. He'll live.
No,
he'll have two left.
And someone's just like,
and scoop.
I'm out. Bye, guys.
All right. So we have two more gods we're gonna go over.
Torloff, God of Fury.
I want you to talk about this one.
All right. So this one has been. It's caught my eye pretty quickly. It's Torloff, God of Fury.
It's Thor. It's Thor knockoff.
Thor. It is hardcore Thor. It's a two colorless and two reds.
Four. So
it's four in total.
Yeah.
Trample. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, Torloff deals damage equal to the excess to any other target than that permanent.
He's a 5/4. So
that's terrifying.
So the fun thing about this, if you have all your stuff and you've given it Death Touch and Trample, that means, let's say you have a 10/10 and he has a 5/5, and he has 5/5 swings but has Death Touch and Trample. That means the 10/10 blocks it. The Death Touch does the 1 damage it needs to do, and boom, that thing dies instantly. And then 4 damage goes through, which means he gets to spin that damage wherever else. And if you're able to give Torloff Death Touch himself, then that's an even more insane, because it says he does the damage. It says Torloff deals damage, not like deal damage. So anyway, he's doing the damage. Yeah. So anything that involves like lifelink, anything that involves him doing damage himself, like Death Touch or lifelink and anything like that,
insane fast.
It can get very powerful. But go over the other side, the flip side.
His flip side is Torloff's Hammer. I love it. The CMC is 1 in red. Equipped creature has 1 in red, tap, unattached Torloff's Hammer. It deals 3 damage to any target. Return Torloff's Hammer to its owner's hand. Equipped creature gets a +3/+0 as long as it is legendary. And its equipped is a 1 in a red as well.
So the hammer is pretty decent, but it's not like overly. It's something that it definitely doesn't strike me like super mythic. But the point is, I think the big thing about these cards is that they're really like they're good in Commander, but I think they're insane in Standard. Because you can go play Torloff, and then you go play. If you have a second Torloff in hand, you play his hammer. Mm-hmm. It kind of mitigates the whole part about like, oh, I have several of the same legendary in hand, because these fixes all that, which is actually kind of insane for Standard.
Because that gets out of hand fast.
Oh my gosh, there's actually this is going to be some. I'm going to talk about it in a different video about how I think mono red treasure is going to be like an actually good deck in Standard.
That might be pretty good.
I'll show you the stuff later, but I really like Torloff. I think his hammer is pretty good too. His hammer super synergizes with him, which it should. But so if you're playing Commander, it's
not bad, but
you can't really synergize them with each other unless you're playing like what's it, Shashiki, Shashiki, whatever her name is, the many faces, the mono blue legendary commander from those are the alternate arts.
Oh, I just now realized they have alt arts. Oh, they're so pretty.
Sakashima. That's right. Yeah. Sakashima.
We'll get there eventually.
She's from Commander Legends.
Yeah.
But if you have like her on board and you have Torloff on board and you make a copy of him because she ignores the legendary rule, then you bounce Torloff and then you play the equipment and then you equip the equipment to him. That'd be how you do that. Oof. But other than that, like
it's not bad. Now, this one. Oh, this one is easily my favorite.
This is what Luke's been wanting this whole time, because this allows him to play. This is what
my God's deck needed.
To build his dream deck.
Oof.
Go ahead.
Iska, God of the Tree, is 1 and 2 greens. Vigilance. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Other legendary creatures you control have Vigilance, and tap, add 1 mana of any color. Not bad. It's pretty good. I likes it. Now, it's the flip side, which I love.
So, one thing I'm going to mention right quickly is, when it comes to modal cards, when it comes to their color, what their color is, it's whatever the color of the card that's up is. However, what the card's color is versus its color identity, that's a very different thing. So way Commander goes by color identity, goes by every single symbol that's on the card. Doesn't matter where. Just as long as
it's
on the card. If there's a mana symbol of a certain color on the card, that card is of those colors. That's how Commander works in terms of color identity. So color identity is a thing that, like I said, only applies to Commander. Yep. With that being said, all the modal cards in the bottom left-hand corner have what the cost of the other side is on it.
And it works.
So Essica, God of the Tree, in her bottom left-hand corner has Wooburg in the corner.
Yes.
White, blue, black, red, and green. Luke, take it away.
Prismatic Bridge. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker card. Put that card into the battlefield and the rest in the bottom of your library in any random order.
So that ability is already really strong.
That's very good.
It's already really strong. And the thing is, it's insanely strong. But the thing is, that means if your Eska is your commander, she is Wooburg. Mm-hmm. It's like she's all 5 colors. Mm-hmm. So, specifically for the Gods deck, this makes it even more thematic, where you don't have to run something like Morpheron or Golos or any other.
Poor Golos finally gets to rest.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's both thematically and also her flip side's insane for the deck.
Oh yeah.
But even better, if you're playing a decent amount of legendary creatures that are like 2 or 1 drops, if you're playing like let's say like even a quarter, like let's say even like 10 to 15% of your deck being 2 or 1 drop legendary creatures, she makes them all. She makes them all twigs, all Landmar elves. She turns them into mana dorks.
I love it. It's so
and they
good.
get vigilance. She gets them all vigilance and makes them mana dorks. So early games you need to ramp out. Her front side's amazing. And if you're going in late game, you can do stuff like Bouncer too. Mm-hmm. I think bouncing spells will be really powerful in a gods in a Kaldheim themes god deck. Mm-hmm. Bounce spells that bounce your own stuff would be fine because you can recast them and use their own abilities. But if you bounce her or she dies or whatever and you cast her from command zone, you can cast either side. Mm-hmm. So you just go ahead and cast the other side late game and start just netting so much advantage. So that's
I love it.
So those are just the first. Those are the
first five.
Well, the first 5 mythic gods. We're not going to talk about every card in the set.
We'd be going on forever about that because there are so many good ones.
But even still, the first 5 mythic gods that we have are just a huge telling of the rest of the set. We're going to just go briefly go over the rest of the gods very briefly. So here's another set of them. So we have Rydane, God of the Worthy. She is another mono white god. No, go back. You don't have to do that.
Okay. You don't want to talk about the artifact?
No. I'm just going to briefly go over them. Next up we have is scroll back up. Yeah, there it is. Is Cosmia.
Yeah, Cosmia.
Cosmia, God of the Voyage. She's another mono blue god.
Interesting.
A lot of these are good.
Yeah.
Egon, God of Death, who is good in a weird way, but he's solid. He's a solid card. He's so next up is Briggy. Briggy. God of Storytelling. She's insane. We'll get to that later. She's actually insane.
The next one would be Kolvori, God of Kinship. This one's good.
Scroll down a little bit more. We have some more gods. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, next one. You're drinking, never mind. Now you have Tegrid, God of Fright.
Yep.
She's pretty good as well.
She reminds me of Hell.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And there's Jorn, God of Winter.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the rest of the gods from what we're seeing right now. These gods are pretty cool overall, and each of them are also they're all modal. They all have a flip side to them. Yeah, literally. But they have a flip side to them that has various abilities. But of the gods, let's talk about I think it was Briggy real quick.
Let me go back up to him.
Yeah. Sorry. But she's actually like busted.
This her effect is
her
really
current pre-sale price is $15.
Which
that's for the non-alt art. That's for the base versions, like 15, pre-selling 15. So it's not like she's pre-selling at $32. No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
But she's a rare.
At 15.
She's a rare
which is-
pre-selling at 15. That's insane. Like Little Teferi was an insane rare, but he didn't pre-sell at that. Like
No, what did he pre-sell, like 10?
it was like 10 to 12. He got up to like I think 17 as highest, but he maintained around 12.
Yeah.
But Briggy she's worth it. She's a mono red.
I feel like she's going to go way up in price.
I think she'll...
Well, not way up. I think she'll probably top out 20 maybe.
I don't think she'll go much. I think she'll drop to like 8, but her alt arts and her foil alt arts will be insanely expensive. But Briggy, God of Storytelling, is a 3/3 for 3, 2 colorless and a red. Whenever you exile a spell, when you cast a spell, I'm blind, people. That's why I have glasses, but you know.
He needs new glasses and I need glasses.
Whenever you cast a spell, you add red. So you add just 1 red to your mana pool.
It's not bad. It's pretty good.
Pretty good. So you're turning all your stuff into cantrips. That's already pretty insane. Until the end of your turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end, which is also really good.
That's really good.
Creatures you control can boast twice during each your turns instead of once. Boasting is a new mechanic that whenever a creature attacks, doesn't have to deal combat damage. Whenever a creature attacks, it can now boast. It can only boast once per turn. Briggy allows you to boast more than once per turn. So,
which is really
some of the boast
good.
effects are pretty strong. So this is pretty solid. And then she hits a flip side as the other gods do. But where she becomes a horn, her horn allows you to discard a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library, and you may play those cards this turn. So kind of like a pseudo draw,
which is not bad. It's
pseudo loot.
It's a good. What is going on?
It's just showing off the other arts. The
Chill, computer.
But so that's pretty much it for this video. We're gonna talk more about the set in a second video. But thank you for watching. My name was Jimmy.
I'm Luke,
and this
is what's on the table.
Bye.
Bye.